I buried my 8-year-old son alone. Not a single family member showed up. Not my mother, not my father, not my sister. Just me, standing under the burning Savannah sun, watching them lower my baby into the ground. And while dirt was hitting his casket, my phone buzzed. I thought it was an apology. It wasn't. It was a text from my mother with a link to a house listing, a $1.5 million beach mansion, the exact amount of my son's life insurance and trust fund. They weren't mourning, they were shopping, and that's when I decided to destroy them. Before I tell you how I systematically dismantled my entire family and made them lose everything, I need you to do something for me. Drop a comment right now and tell me where you're watching from. I want to see how far this story goes, because what you're about to hear isn't just revenge. It's a lesson on what happens when you underestimate the quiet ones. Hit that like button, subscribe, and buckle up, because this is going to be intense. Let me take you back to that day. June in Savannah, Georgia is suffocating. The humidity doesn't just sit in the air, it wraps around you like a wet blanket you can't escape. I stood there in my black dress, sweat dripping down my spine, staring at the cemetery gates, waiting. My mother said she'd be there. My father promised. My sister Destiny texted me the night before saying she wouldn't miss it. But as the funeral director gently touched my shoulder and said, "Ma'am, we need to begin," I realized they weren't coming. I kept telling myself there was traffic, maybe an accident on I-95, maybe Destiny's flight from Atlanta got delayed. I made excuses for them even as they lowered my son's tiny casket into the earth. John was 8 years old. He loved astronomy. He wanted to be an astronaut. He used to fall asleep with glow-in-the-dark stars stuck to his ceiling, whispering the names of constellations. And now he was gone. The first shovel of dirt hit the wood with a hollow thud that echoed through my entire body. That's when my phone vibrated in my purse. Finally, I thought, an explanation. I pulled it out with trembling hands. It was a message from my mother, but it wasn't a text. It was a shared link, a Zillow listing. I clicked it, confused. A 5-bedroom oceanfront estate filled my screen. Infinity pool, chef's kitchen, marble everything. And at the bottom, the price, $1,500,000. In the caption, my mother had written, "Fresh start, heart, what do you think?" My vision blurred, not from tears, from rage. That number, $1.5 million, it was the exact combined total of John's life insurance policy and the trust fund his father had set up before he died, down to the dollar. While I stood alone at my son's grave, my family was house hunting with his money. I didn't cry, I didn't scream. Something inside me just shifted, like a switch flipping. The grief was still there, but it was wrapped in something colder now, harder. Clarity. I drove home in complete silence. The back seat of my car was filled with white lilies from the funeral. Their sickly sweet scent filled the car, suffocating me more than the heat ever could. When I got home, I didn't collapse. I didn't fall apart. I opened my laptop. First, I logged into the florist website my mother always used. I had her password because I was usually the one ordering flowers from her for birthdays and holidays. I found the funeral arrangement order, and there it was. Order placed 14 days ago. They had pre-ordered flowers for my son's funeral 2 weeks in advance, which meant they knew 14 days ago they wouldn't be there. They had planned their absence, scheduled it, like a doctor's appointment. That tiny hope I'd been clinging to, that maybe they were stuck, maybe there was a reason, died right there. Next, I checked the joint credit card I shared with my sister Destiny. I'd added her as an authorized user 3 years ago when she begged me to help her build credit. I scrolled through the recent charges. While I was at the funeral home picking my son's casket, Destiny spent $487 at Sephora. While I was writing his eulogy at 2 a.m., sobbing over my keyboard, she dropped $223 at a sushi bar in Atlanta. While I was choosing which photos to display at his memorial, she charged $340 at Nordstrom. My hands didn't shake. They were steady as I clicked Remove Authorized User. Access revoked. Then I went to work. I pulled up the smart home app for the family cabin in the Blue Ridge Mountains. They called it the family cabin, but I was the only name on the deed. I bought it with my divorce settlement so John could see snow for the first time. My parents used it every other weekend to impress their country club friends while I paid the property taxes, utilities, and insurance. I opened the digital lock settings, deleted my father's access code, deleted my mother's, deleted Destiny's, changed the master code. Then I moved down my list. Netflix removed all users. Hulu removed all users. Amazon Prime changed password. Spotify Family Plan canceled their accounts. HBO Max revoked access. iCloud Shared Storage deleted their access. With every click, I felt lighter, like I was shedding dead weight. But then I remembered something. I opened a hidden file on my computer, a spreadsheet I'd been keeping for 4 years. I called it the ledger. It was a record of every single dollar I'd given them. $96,000, 4 years of their mortgage payments at $2,000 a month because they were about to lose the house. $4,800, Destiny's birthday trip to Tulum so she could grow her Instagram. $12,000, my father's emergency dental work. $5,500, Destiny's car accident deductible when she totaled her BMW texting and driving. $8,000, my mother's investment opportunity that was actually a pyramid scheme. The total at the bottom, $187,340, nearly $200,000 in 4 years. And then I saw the most recent entry. 2 days after John died, a package arrived at my door. My mother had texted, "Sent you something to help. Love you." I opened it thinking it was something comforting, a photo album, a blanket, something. It was a box of bills, credit card statements, past due notices, a foreclosure warning on a beach property I didn't even know they owned. On top was a sticky note in my mother's handwriting. "Do the right thing, Sarah. Family helps family." That was my condolence gift. A bill. They didn't see a grieving mother. They saw a payday. I closed my laptop, and for the first time in my life, I didn't feel shame. I didn't feel guilty for not being enough. I felt something else. Purpose. The next afternoon, the pounding on my door started at 2 p.m. Not a knock, a demand. I looked through the peephole. My parents. I opened the door. My father, Andrew, pushed past me without a word. He walked straight to my kitchen, opened my fridge, and started pulling things out. "Expired," he muttered, throwing out a milk carton. "Wilted," he said, throwing away vegetables. He was building a case. She can't even take care of herself. My mother, Amber, stood in my living room staring at the walls. I'd hung my latest art series there, watercolor paintings of decaying magnolia flowers. "It's so dark in here, Sarah. These paintings, they're disturbing. You're not well." I crossed my arms. "What do you want?" My mother reached into her purse and pulled out a thick stack of papers clipped together. She set them on my coffee table like they were a gift. "We want to help you, Sarah. This is a voluntary conservatorship, just temporary, just until you're stable again. We'll manage your trust fund, pay your bills. You won't have to worry about anything." I stared at the papers. A conservatorship. They wanted legal control over me, over the money. "And if I don't sign?" I asked. My father slammed the fridge door. "Then we have you committed," he said coldly. "We file a 5150 hold. We have statements from neighbors. We have emails you sent. You're a danger to yourself." I froze. I hadn't sent any emails. They were forging evidence. "We just want what's best for you, Sarah," whispered my mother as she walked out. "Sign the paper, sweetie. Don't make this harder than it has to be." I walked to the window and looked outside. Destiny's white Range Rover was parked in the fire line. She wasn't coming inside. She was sitting in the driver's seat with her phone mounted on the dash, ring light glowing. She was filming me. I could already see the Instagram caption. "Hardest day ever. Intervention for my sister. Please pray for us. #mental health matters. #family first." She was monetizing my breakdown in real time, building a public narrative so when they stole the money, everyone would think they were heroes. This was a setup, a trap. Legal threats, social media proof, emotional blackmail. They thought they had me cornered. I turned back to them. "I need time to think." "You have 24 hours, said my father. "Noon tomorrow or we call the police." My mother touched my cheek as she walked out. Her hand was ice cold. "We love you, Sarah," she whispered. I locked the door behind them. I stared at the conservatorship papers on my table. They thought they'd won, but they forgot something. I picked up my phone and called Eric, my late husband's attorney. Eric's office looked more like a tech bunker than a law firm. Servers hummed, screens glowed. Sitting at the table was Kelly, my late husband's aunt, and a retired federal judge. "We found out why they're desperate," Eric said, sliding a tablet toward me. On the screen was a ledger, but not mine, theirs. "This is from an illegal gambling ring in Atlanta, high-stakes poker, offshore sports betting, all unregulated." Eric pointed at the screen. "Destiny's name is all over this. She owes $400,000. Your parents co-signed as guarantors." My stomach dropped. "These aren't banks, Sarah." I pulled out my phone. "They built a story," I said, "but I have proof." I showed them my smartwatch data. "This shows I was asleep the night they claim I had a manic episode. And this," I pulled up my building's security footage, "shows me calmly walking in and out with groceries when they claim I was screaming in the hallways." Eric's eyes lit up. "If they submit those false affidavits in court, that's felony perjury, multiple counts." Kelly smiled, not warmly, coldly. "We need them to take the bait," she said. I nodded. "I'll give them exactly what they want." The next morning, I showed up at my parents' house. I looked defeated, hair messy, eyes red, shoulders slumped. They loved it. My father paced the room, lecturing me about family responsibility. My mother sat beside me, rubbing my back with fake sympathy. Destiny scrolled on her phone, already bored. "I'll do it," I whispered. Silence. "Do what?" my mother asked carefully. "I'll pay the debt. Just please don't have me committed. Please." My father's face lit up like Christmas morning. "That's my smart girl." I pulled out my phone with shaking hands. They crowded around me like vultures. I opened my banking app. I transferred $450,000 to my father's account. They watched the confirmation screen like it was a lottery win. My father pulled out expensive scotch. My mother hugged me so tight I could barely breathe. Destiny was already on her phone shopping. "To family," my father toasted. They clinked glasses. Then my father's phone rang. He looked confused. "It's the bank." He answered. His face went white. "What do you mean, frozen?" he said, voice rising. "What do you mean, federal hold?" I stood up slowly. "Yesterday," I said calmly, "I filed an IRS whistleblower report. That gambling ledger, it flagged all your accounts for money laundering and tax evasion." Destiny's glass slipped from her hand and shattered on the floor. "The $450,000 I just transferred," I continued, "it triggered an automatic freeze on all accounts pending federal investigation." My mother's face twisted in horror. "The loan sharks saw the money hit your account. They know it's there. But now it's frozen. The IRS has it, and you can't touch it." My father lunged toward me, but Kelly's voice came from the doorway. "I wouldn't," she said, calmly, holding up her phone. "I'm recording, and assault would just add to your charges." I walked toward the door. "Sarah, you fix this," my father roared. I turned back one last time. "You taught me that family helps family," I said. "Consider this my last lesson." I walked out. Behind me, the screaming started. The fallout was brutal. The IRS investigation uncovered years of unreported gambling income and tax fraud. My parents lost their house, their cars, everything. The loan sharks, now very publicly looking for their money, made life hell for Destiny. She fled to Arizona and went completely off social media. The fake conservatorship documents, the doctor who signed them, didn't exist. Fake license, more felony charges. And me? I received a 15% IRS whistleblower reward from the recovered tax fraud. It was more than enough to start over. I used the rest of John's trust fund to establish the John Morgan Astronomy Scholarship for underprivileged kids who dream of the stars like he did. Every year, a child who wouldn't have had the chance gets to study the universe. My son's legacy isn't a beach house for people who never loved him. It's the future of kids who dare to dream. I didn't lose my family that day. I stopped carrying them. There's a difference between grief and guilt. Grief honors what mattered. Guilt carries what never did. And sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself is let go. If this story hit you in the chest, smash that like button right now. Tell me in the comments, have you ever had to cut off toxic family? What was your final straw? And if you want more stories where justice is served ice cold, subscribe and hit that bell, because we're just getting started. Thanks for watching, and remember, sometimes the best revenge isn't destroying them, it's finally freeing yourself.